everybody. You have tuned in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance. Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance, and we thank them for their continued support of the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, First Sergeant Rich Myers with the Indiana State Police Public Information Office, and I want to thank Tom Trial. Behind the scenes, Tom, thank you, Tom, for putting us on YouTube each and every week. Also, you can see us on the Indiana State Police YouTube channel. Our shows are put on there by Tom each and every week. I have a new guest with me this week, somebody that's never been in here with us before, Master Motor Carrier Inspector Kimberly Hill. Kimberly, thank you for coming in. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
And Kim is coming in today to talk to us about something new that we've never had on the show before. But before we get to that, let's find out a little background on on Kimberly's being with the Indiana State Police and her history with the state police. So you've been on as a motor carrier inspector for 20 years.
Yes, I've been a motor carrier inspector out of the Versailles district for 20 years.
You don't look that old.
Thank you.
You must have come on when you were about 6 or something. Is that right?
Something like that, yeah. We'll go with that.
So what were you doing at the time that you decided, hey, I think I want to work with trucks out on the highway and being out there doing that type of stuff?
That's an interesting story. I actually have a degree to be a math and physics teacher.
Wow. Did you utilize that at all? Did you teach any?
I taught for 1 year at Oldenburg Academy.
Okay.
And then I decided I wanted to put in for troop school.
All right.
I didn't make that cut, and I decided to put in for the motor carrier job and fell in love with it. So
great. And that was 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
So have you spent your entire time at the Versailles Post?
I have.
Okay. And do you live down there in that area?
Yes, I do.
Great. Well, what is your everyday job? What does a motor carrier inspector do for the Indiana State Police?
I spend most of my time at the West Harrison Scale Facility.
Where's that located at?
On the Indiana-Ohio border, just outside of Cincinnati.
Okay.
Doing truck inspections, weight enforcement.
What is the truck inspection consist of? What do you guys do when you pull them? And is this a new scale or is this an older scale?
We have an inspection barn, so
okay.
It's been there a little less time than I have. So
okay, so you pull them actually into a inside facility.
If we're going to do, we do 3 levels of inspections.
Okay.
A level 1 would be full bumper to bumper underneath, check all the lights, suspension, brakes, the whole 9 yards.
So you're actually sliding underneath the vehicle, looking at everything. Fortunately,
we have an inspection barn, so we get a walk under them. So that saves some backs.
Still getting dripped on in the winter, I'm
exactly.
sure.
And then the other thing we do, so we do maybe 1 or 2 of those a shift, and then we also do level 2 inspections, which is a complete walk around inspection, but we everything that we can see by walking around the truck.
Okay.
And then a level 3 inspection, which is probably what we do the most of. We just check the drivers.
Okay.
And make sure all their paperwork's in order, checking their logbooks, make sure they're not impaired by alcohol or drugs.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Is it logbooks? Is that paper anymore, or is that pretty much gone by the wayside?
Currently, it is still. They can do either at this point. They have I think in 2017. I'm not sure on that date. It's going to be mandatory that most people that are over-the-road drivers have the electronic logbooks.
Okay. And that's going to be a federal mandate, probably.
Yes.
Okay. Is that easier for you guys?
It actually takes more time. It takes more time to look at them because they have a lot more detail. Instead of 15-minute increments on the paper logs, we have, down to the seconds on the electronic logging devices.
But maybe it's not going to be so easy for possibly somebody to manipulate, to change.
There's still there's still human input, so it's still possible to manipulate it.
Okay.
So.
Well, maybe they can work on that and get it so it's not, but maybe, everything's going to the computer age and it's going to come around to that. I'm sure even your inspections, you guys probably use that, don't you?
We do 100% computerized inspections. So.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get talking about something else that Kimberly brought into us, and that she actually gives programs on, and something that we just had a I guess you could call it a tri-state blitz or initiative with Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana on human trafficking. And that's really caught my eye, and I wanted to get Kimberly in here to talk about it. First of all, human trafficking, period. But number one, why is the Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division involved in that? So how did you guys get involved with this?
We got involved in it through a group called Truckers Against Trafficking.
Okay.
Their website's truckersagainsttrafficking.org. And they're trying to, enlist the help of all the commercial truck drivers as well as the truck stop employees to help combat essentially prostitution that involves human trafficking around truck stops and rest areas. So those guys being the eyes of the nation, because they see a whole lot more of the world, the nation, than we do.
So what exactly is human trafficking? What are we talking about?
In human trafficking, there are two types. It's divided into sex trafficking and labor trafficking. Sex trafficking is a commercial sex act that is induced by force, fraud, or coercion, or in which the person induced to perform such acts has not attained 18 years of age. So we get children involved in this as well.
And that primarily could be like you were talking about, the prostitution at the truck stops or something of that sort.
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's also labor trafficking. We probably hear less about this.
Right.
Labor trafficking is the obtaining of a person for labor or services through the use of force, fraud, or coercion for the purposes of subjecting them to involuntary servitude or even debt bondage, where they create a debt that's virtually impossible for them to pay off.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you this job
Right.
that you're going to make, maybe $2 a day at, but you have a $10,000 debt to pay off. So it's going to take you the rest of your life to do it.
Never obtain that. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that is probably not heard as much as the sex trafficking, but I'm sure it happens quite a bit more.
It depends on which statistics you look at. Some of them, there are statistics, I'd say they're probably about equal.
Okay.
There are statistics that say, one's higher than the other, and then you'll look at another set of statistics and it says the other way. So ultimately, it's modern day slavery, both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got people doing work for them that they aren't being fully compensated.
And this is probably a lot that I'm guessing is some of the people that aren't here legally, that have been brought over from other countries, and they don't have a leg to stand on to complain about this.
Actually, there is one statistic out there, like 83% of those involved, I believe, in sex trafficking in the United States are American citizens.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. So what can truck drivers, you and I, anybody in the public, what do we look for to combat this situation?
You want to look for, first of all, I usually, when I give my presentations, I have two goals in mind. And that's for, the everyday person in the general public to protect your own family, your own friends, your own neighbors, and, watch out for our young people.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing? What are they doing on the internet, social media?
I see.
That brings the world to Indiana.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And in many of my programs is human trafficking a problem in Indiana? It's like, well, the internet's right. It brings everything to us. So it sort of closes that gap. So,
well, I know one situation that we talked about through our getting ready for this program was an individual that befriended somebody on the internet and ended up as a human trafficker, or being trafficked.
Yeah, imagine if you're the parent of this 18-year-old daughter from Central Indiana. She's 18 years old. She tells you she's going on vacation with a friend out west. The next thing you don't hear back from your daughter, but you hear from an officer with a child exploitation task force telling you that your daughter's is involved in human trafficking.
Yeah.
Your daughter met her trafficker at the mall where she worked. So she was, at her job at the mall,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a fancy car. He promised her the world, and so she followed him out west, and she tells her parents that I'm going out west with a friend. Fortunately, she was rescued. She returned extremely skinny, almost malnourished.
Was it by design by the person that had taken her out there?
That is correct, because in almost all your statistics, that being malnourished or extremely skinny is one of the signs to actually watch for, because skinny girls bring more money.
Through the sex trafficking
Yes.
that he was using her for.
Yes.
I see. So this girl was actually returned back to her family, though.
Yes.
That's great. That's wonderful. Well, if you see something like that going on and you think it's possibly happening in your area, who should they contact, or who do they take notice of, or what should they do?
When I give these programs to various organizations, I usually have people get out their cell phone and put this phone number in your cell phone.
Okay.
The National Human Trafficking Resource Center has a hotline, and their phone number is 888-3737-888. And so be prepared to make that call if you see something that doesn't quite make sense or you think might be part of human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid about being wrong here.
Right. Yeah.
Better to make that call and be wrong, and it'll be okay. Whereas if you don't make the call, it could cost somebody their life. And then also, when I tell people that, I also remind them, if somebody's in immediate danger,
Right.
call 911.
Right.
Get somebody there that can help people immediately. If you call the resource center, they're going to get all their different resources rolling. And even after you call 911 for that situation, go ahead and call the hotline, because they're also going to get some victim services stuff heading that way to help these people.
Great. Well, again, you're listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance. Sergeant Rich Myers with the Indiana State Police Public Information Office. I'm speaking with Master Motor Carrier Inspector Kimberly Hill from the Versailles Post, and we're talking about human trafficking. And Kimberly, I think you guys have kind of worked here and done some things throughout Indiana to possibly bring this to the forefront. What exactly have you guys done besides give the programs? There's some things maybe that's going handed out to different locations throughout Indiana, and truck drivers and stuff that they can have on their person that they can keep with them to know what to do.
Yeah, the Truckers Against Trafficking provides us a lot of resources. They have window decals to put in the trucks.
Okay.
We have posters up at the scale houses. We have little wallet cards that you can put in your wallet. So you
have that number.
Just have that number right there and ready. Those kind of resources are available through Truckers Against Trafficking. The other resources that I've found in doing some research for this was the National Human Trafficking Resource Center, which is the number I just gave you. They also have a website, traffickingresourcecenter.org, and they have a lot of resources for different professions. So not just law enforcement or truck drivers, the nursing profession or the healthcare profession. A lot of times these kids get injured to the point where they get taken to an ER.
Right. Yeah.
And so the only time they may get to talk to somebody without somebody hovering over them, maybe when they're in the ER. Teachers, these kids may still be going to school.
Mm-hmm.
They may have poor attendance. They may be acting out. But they may still be going to school, but be involved in this.
Well, we're down to our last minute here. I wanted to make that number known again. And also, if somebody wanted this program, do they contact you directly, or how do they get a hold of it to make this program? You say you give to churches, organizations, truckers, companies, anybody that wants to hear it.
Probably the best way to get a hold of us would be contact Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division with State Police.
Okay.
At 317-615-7373.
Okay. And they can set you up or set somebody up to get the program.
Yes, we'll get somebody to do that program for them.
Great. Well, again, you've been listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance, Cop for Kids. My guest has been Master Motor Carrier Inspector Kimberly Hill. We've been talking about human trafficking and what can be done in your area to bring the stop to this that's happening in Indiana. It's very, very good information. Thanks for being here, Kim. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.